Hey everybody, today's the day. We're finished with graphing. You guys are going to be taking the test on graphing here in a second. And I just want to review a couple ideas that I think will help you on the test. The first idea is that you should always pay attention to the key, right? So find the key, circle the key, think about what that key means on this graph. If each blue circle means 2, that's going to change a lot about this graph. Most people think 1 to 1, right? And that's, to be honest, the way it is sometimes, but other times they could count by 5s, they could count by 10s, and in this case, they're counting by 2s. I also like for kids to focus in on the title. It'll tell you what the graph is about and the categories. It usually goes along with the title, but it's a good idea to know what they're graphing, what the key means, before you jump into the questions or focus too much on the data, right? It's pretty easy to see which one is the most and which one is the least, but it's a good idea to start with those fundamentals. Key, title, categories. Always find them first. All right, let's say I found the key. Each circle stands for 1. Yes. These are things kids bought at the book fair, like chapter books, binders, coloring books, crayons, comic books. And I'm ordering more for next year's book fair, and I want to know which ones were popular with kids. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I know which one is the least, right? I'm not going to order those maybe next year. I know which ones were pretty popular. I might order more of those for the kids next year, right? So I might answer some questions about which is the most, which is the least. But the question I want you to focus in on is the one that asks you about more, right? Here we're comparing chapter books to crayons. They want us to think about these two a little bit and figure out which one is bigger and how much bigger it is. Not sure I have a green highlighter here. Oops. Perfect. So these are the two that we're focusing in on. You can see right away that one is short and one is a little bit longer. The trouble is they want to know how much longer it is. So I like to say, find out what's the same, right? These are the same right here. Right? 3 chapter books, 1, 2, 3, is the same as 3 crayons. And then the only part that's sticking out, that's the more part. That's the answer to a question when they ask you how many more or how many less. And I'm going to make that a little darker so you can see it. The other way to think about it is there are 5 chapter books. There are 3 crayons. 2 is the difference. Here's the 5. Here's the 3. That is what we were solving for. So we had to subtract to find the missing part. So that's the second kind of question you're going to have, where they give you a graph already made and you answer questions about it. That's called interpreting or answering questions about a graph. That's going to be on the test. The next part is when you make a graph, right? And it would be really fun to do a survey, go down to kindergarten and ask them what their favorite foods are, or what their favorite books are. And if we were in person, lots of classrooms do this, where they take a survey and they make some graphs. So just know you're going to be making a graph today. However, my guess is you're going to be making a graph based on some data that's already there for you. So let's take a look at your test. Here, you're going to show what you know about tallies up at the top. Can you count them? Here, we have a graph that's already made, if I were you, I would look at the title, I would look at the categories and pay attention to the key, wink, wink. It even says circle them for big points. And then you're going to answer questions. There are blank peanuts. Find the peanuts and count by twos. The number of blank and blank are the same. Find the ones that are the same length and write them in those lines. There are more peanuts than cashews, so you have to compare two different categories. And then for this last one, you have to add the almonds and the pecans all together. So you're going to be doing some data, interpreting a graph. And then comes the time when you make a graph. So you're going to make a tally chart, and then you're going to turn that tally chart into a graph. Okay? And I think on yours, on Seesaw, I gave you little circles to kind of use, but I would like it if you used a key and you gave the graph a title. Don't forget about those important parts. Let's see. Oh, when you're all done with the work, we have a fun math game for you on the next page. Thanks, guys.